G'day folks, Ziggy here. In my recent One Divine budget arc video, I mentioned how even a new player fresh into endgame can easily earn a divine in no time at all. A comment from a new player on that video got me thinking that perhaps I should work on some little guide showcases to just that idea. There are a ton of ways for a new player with little to no investment to make a divine in short order to fund their build. How long it takes is of course going to vary, but one divine an hour is a very reasonable starting point goal. In this video we'll take a look at Delve. At depth 40, monster level 69, which is the equivalent of a tier 2 white map. Very easy and accessible content. Whatever results you see in this video, know that this is about as bad as Delve can get reward wise. It ramps quickly to be much more profitable at deeper depths. As you can see, I ran this test with an empty currency tab and a single sale tab. To keep this as simple as possible, I decided I would just manually price items in this one tab. It'll be much faster if you set up a few different tabs at different price points like 1, 2 and 3 chaos and so on. More on selling later though. Before we do begin delving, a note on Sulphite gathering, the fuel that allows you to run around in the delve. In addition to any gathered during the campaign, a newer player is going to gather this via Nico Master missions in endgame maps. This places piles of sulphite in your maps that you can click to get some to go. These missions are acquired when you kill map bosses, so running more maps will acquire more missions. You can get missions more quickly though with nodes on the passive tree, especially the Mad Devotion node, which only takes 3 points to get. That's just completing 3 tier 1 maps. The amount of sulphite you get per pile goes up dramatically with map level and with map quantity, so using an alchemy orb on your maps gives more sulphite, and running higher level maps gives a lot more sulphite. I tested this running tier 1 maps. I have some of the nodes on the passive tree which helped a little, but I got a bit over 100 sulphite per pile. Delve nodes at depth 40 cost about that on average, so it's 2 to 3 runs per sulphite map. If you do this in even just tier 5 white maps, still very accessible, you'll get upwards of 5 times that amount of sulphite. That means a lot of delving per map at depth 40. Obviously the sulphite costs of delving go up the deeper you go, but the rewards get significantly better as you do so. If you plan on delving long term, and it's worth it, then I highly recommend getting the rest of the delve nodes on the Atlas tree. They give more sulphite, more missions, and even a free bonus sulphite every time you complete a map, even if it doesn't have a Nico mission on it. This means you can be acquiring more delve juice even while you're just acquiring Nico missions to run later. One node also gives azurite, the blue stuff, in large amounts so you don't have to get so much in delves for upgrades. Okay, so let's get delving. The simple guide is that you run with the crawler, which provides a safe light radius around you. You cannot kill monsters in the dark, so stay in the light. Flares provide an area of light in the dark to kill monsters and get loot. They have a special hotkey that you can rebind to something comfortable. You can run in the dark a little bit, but stay in too long and you're a goner. Now dying in the delve isn't that big a deal though. You can retry the same path, you just lose any sulphite spent on that run so far. Currency in low level delves will mainly come from 3 things: currency drops, resonators, and fossils. Your goal is to head downwards while pathing through any nodes that have currency on them or a box. Ignore weapons and armor and such, except to path through them. You will have to get some blue azurite as you go, especially early on, and that should be spent on getting more flares, upgrading the flare amount that you can carry, upgrading your light radius and flare light radius, and getting more sulphite capacity. Now currency nodes are obvious, they give you currency, but the reason we go for the boxes that say contains items is that they quite often have resonators amongst other valuables. For example, you only need 20 of the 3 socket resonators and you already have a divine. I recommend waiting until you have a decent pile of resonators, say 10 or so, and then selling them all at once. Most people tend to buy this stuff in bulk. If you get a really large amount, then you can actually sell them for more as people pay for the convenience. If you don't have it yet, by the way, I recommend googling Awakened PoE Trade. It allows you to press Ctrl D on an item for a quick price check, and it saves you so much time. There are other guides out there to that software add-on, so search them up. At low depths, currency and boxes are the main moneymaker nodes, but keep an eye out for fossil nodes, and special gold bordered abyssal depths and Val City areas that have lots of loot chests in them. Also, especially keep an eye out for nodes that say things like contains fire items or contains minion items and similar things to that. These nodes drop rare items with special delve only modifiers on them, like for example rings that curse enemies on hit. These can be worth a lot of currency. I've sold many rings for 50 to 100 chaos and sometimes over a divine when it has good life and resists. This league I also sold a special minion body armor for 70 divines. And that was just gotten from a node around depth level 100. Still a very low level delve and something that profitable. For the curious, that was a good base +1 Spectre chest with that Spectre affix fractured. Anyway, special nodes become increasingly more common the deeper you go, and it makes delve quite exciting long term. But for now, currency, resonators and fossils are all you really need to quickly get your first divine. In addition to the end of path rewards, you can significantly boost your income by going into the dark. As the crawler moves along, every so often you'll see paths branching off the main path, more of them on longer trips. These can have chests of currency, resonators, and fossils that you can mine. Run into the dark looking for sparkly, glowy little chests, and the loot labels will pop up as you get close. Throw flares as you need to light up the area, kill the monsters, and loot the chests. It does take some practice to get a feel for how the paths work, but generally they start appearing a couple screen lengths away from the start of that delve path. If you venture off too early, then you might just get lost down an alternate main path rather than the side areas that we're looking for. Most side areas have between 1 to 4 rewards. Chests, item racks, fossils, or piles of blue azurite. If you're seeing a bunch of those, then you know you're in a side area generally. Having a quartz flask or phasing helps a lot with running through the dark. It lets you run through monsters without getting stuck. But if you do get stuck, don't panic, throw a flare and kill the monsters or use a movement skill to jump away. If you're struggling early on, know that you can actually finish the delve run and then run backwards along the lit up cable to explore the side areas with much less pressure. Long term, you want to spend more time delving downwards instead of doing this and then doing the side areas as you go, but early on this can be a good and safe approach while you learn. So how'd I do in my quest for 1 divine in low level delves in this experiment? This was on the same character from my 1 delve budget arc video, and it does very well in delve. You can check out that video linked in the description. It took me around 45 minutes, including time spent trading to earn my first divine with an extra 37 chaos and still a bunch of items still to sell. I'd estimate that that puts us somewhere around the 1.5 to 2 divine an hour mark. Certainly you can earn a lot more currency through other methods in Path of Exile with more investment, but for a very low investment and highly accessible new player strategy, that is quite good. Most of the currency I earned came from resonators and fossils. I had a few chaos drops, but at low levels, the big earners are those resonators and fossils. I made the mistake of selling some smaller piles of these midway through my experiment, which did slow me down quite a lot. Once I got a few more stash and listed, the larger bulk sales came in thick and fast, and I catapulted to that divine very rapidly. I recommend getting piles of 10 or so before listing them for sale, unless they are more valuable fossils like Bound, Shuddering, or Perfect, things worth like 8 or 10 chaos or more. Obviously, if you're new to Delve and your character is a bit weaker, and you have to run a few blue nodes for upgrades, it might take you a little longer to get your first divine. But it's super easy content at this level, and once you get there, it only gets better and better. I hope you found this helpful. Please feel free to ask any questions in the comments below, and let me know if you'd like me to explore any other strategies. I'm Ziggy D, and thanks for watching.